2, 1.
We about to have a blast today.
Hello, all you happy people.
Let's do a junkie roll call.
Sound off like you got a pair.
The great Daddy Coogee.
What country you from? What ain't no country I ever heard of?
She probably still got an old school TV.
Why do you say this to me?
I'm the only girl, so I wanted to do anything that my brothers were doing.
Oh, yeah, you blend.
She's cute too, huh?
Indeed!
That's fine. Just give us a second.
She with you?
The film was just lazy. Like I said, they like vision.
But you got to have vision.
I'm a big JRPG person.
We've just lost half the audience.
Supposed to be full.
Oh, why?
But he'd have to be fast.
I'm your man. No, you're not. You're too slow.
It ain't just about being fast.
I did not see one Asian in that movie.
Let's not stand on ceremony here.
It's a business. Who cares about the people's feelings?
Aim for the bushes.
I could do this all day.
I got big boy pants on!
What's going on, junkies? It's Monday. We're back with Culture Junkies Live. I'm Kenshiro, your host, and joining me today is going to be Krusty and Big Kahuna and GQ, Josh L, and Miao Yin returning. And today we're going to be talking about the Suicide Squad, obviously, but specifically we're going to talk about, what we thought about it, and also, is there a DC film bias? Because this film just got completely hammered last week by the critics, and some of us may not agree with what a lot of the critics had to say after we finally saw the film. And we're also going to talk about Jared Leto's performance as the Joker and see where he ranks amongst all the Jokers in the past. But real briefly, how's everybody been doing? How was your weekend, everyone? Krusty, how was your weekend? You had a pretty rough one, I hear.
I had a bad one. My dog ate my beauty blender, and strip clubs don't want to hire me.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting nugget. Josh, how are you doing, my friend? And we can't hear him, so we'll move right on. GQ, how was your weekend, my friend? Fix that mic,
fine.
Josh.
Yep, my weekend was fine. It was the usual, being awesome and amazing, and decided to grace everybody with my appearance here today.
And again, Yao Yin, it's been a while. How you doing, girlfriend?
I'm doing fantastic.
Oh, yeah, you're doing fantastic. That's great. That's great.
Yes.
It's been a while since we've seen you, but of course, last week you were on the League of Extraordinary Fangirls, the inaugural show, and you guys will be back again at it this Thursday. Looking forward to seeing that.
Yes, we will. Yes.
Looking forward to seeing that. Big Kahuna, how you doing, my friend?
I am well.
You're a little bit naked without your Dude Love banana. Need you to go ahead and fix that for me. So, real quick, guys, before we get too deep into the Suicide Squad, real brief news and notes. Today is the 30th anniversary of the release date of Transformers the movie. Now, I'm old enough to remember going to see it in the movie theater. GQ's the same, and so is Big Kahuna. So, I want to share some of our thoughts of going to see this fantastic film ourselves in the theater. GQ, what do you remember the most when you finally went to go and see that in the movie theater? What's your longest lasting memory of going to go see that?
Wanting Hot Rod to die right after he got Optimus Prime killed. That was pretty much my main focus throughout the entire movie. Also, that was the first movie that I saw 9 times in the theater, and only one movie to date has beat that record.
Which movie is that?
Avengers.
The Avengers. I figured it was going to be that one. Yes.
Avengers was the only movie that was allowed to break that record, that streak. So just like the Undertaker streak had to end, the Transformers movie streak had to end.
Take a streak.
And
really
Avengers was
really
perfect.
Didn't.
Yeah, perfect movie to end it. So.
Yep.
But yeah, honestly, Prime dying was probably the only character I cared about dying in any movie since. So. Yeah, I mean, and the cultural thing where parents were outraged and they had to change Duke getting killed in the G.I. Joe movie to not happening, and he fell into a coma. It was this Transformers the movie was kind of the first of its kind. Ensemble cast as far as the voice thing goes, and only thing that even got close to it was The Lion King as far as the casting. So I mean, the movie was better than any other animated movie of its time, and it still stands the test of time for me. And like Big Pimpin' J likes to say, it's the first snuff film that we all got to see as children.
Yeah, very true, very true. Poor Ironhide, poor Ironhide. Hey, Kahuna, what did you think of Transformers movie when you go see it when you went to see it in the movie theater?
I can't remember my initial. I just remember I was a little Kahuna back in Hawaii.
Hmm.
I just remember enjoying it a lot. I know once it hit VHS, I watched it like back to back to back to back to back.
Oh yeah, I think we all were
I
there.
loved it. I loved it.
Yeah.
Still do.
My most longest lasting memory of seeing Transformers movie in the movie theater is I cannot forget the look on my mom's face and the incredulousness that she had when Spike uttered the words, "Holy shit, what are we going to do now?" When that happened, she was like, she almost wanted to leave the theater. I was like, "No, mom, no, 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 we can't go." I'll never forget that. Ever forget
No,
that.
mother, I don't want to leave.
Right? No, I'll never forget that. There's no way I was being pulled out of that theater.
If you're gonna at least quote the movie, at least quote it right. It's "Oh shit, what do we do now?"
Whatever.
right.
Anyway.
Wow. Look at that. Look at
Whatever.
that.
Yeah, whatever.
Josh came back in time to correct you. Look at that. Man is on time all the time.
Josh, you can mute yourself now. You don't have to talk. So anyway, let's
I
move
was
on.
actually gonna chime in.
Kids
That
in a
was
true
a
fan.
very special play. That was the very first date movie that I saw with my wife, and that's how I knew she was the one.
Yo, wait, whoa. All them years ago, that was your first date movie?
That was the first date movie 15 years ago.
Oh, it was 15 years ago. So you thought when it went to the movie theaters, 50? Okay, that's pretty special. Yeah, if she went to go and see that and she actually really obviously enjoyed it, yeah, man.
No, it was on VHS at that point, so it was 15 years old at that point. We watched it in her basement on VHS. It was awesome.
Oh, and it was her basement. Was it her copy or your copy?
It's her brother's copy, and I'll give a shout out to my man. He's got good taste.
Yeah, you ain't got bad taste either, my friend.
Right. Marcus Smith out of the chat is saying he didn't see Transformers the movie until he was 12, and it might have been a good thing. I would like to know why he thinks that's a good thing.
I really want to hear that too.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
All
children must be disillusioned at an early age that people do in fact die. Crime was a prime example of that.
Yeah, we were. I don't see why he has to be a special case. So anyway, guys, another thing, we'll be looking out for your answer in the chat. But another thing I kind of wanted to bring up was this thing about Poison Ivy being aged in Gotham, being played by Maggie Geha. Now, I don't know the circumstances behind it, but it's just another sign that that show just really doesn't care about the Batman ethos or the history. GQ, when I brought it to your attention, what'd you think of the whole thing? I mean, isn't it weird? She's going from what, a 12-year-old girl to being 19, fully blossomed with the pardon the pun, with poison ivy powers.
I wouldn't go so far as the fully blossom part, but I will definitely say that giving her the powers and all that other sort of thing, it's cheesy, it's dumb, it's more of the show doesn't know what it wants to do. Again, you have a show called Gotham and there's no Batman, but yet you have Bruce Wayne in the show. We've said it many times over. They shouldn't have even bothered to bring Bruce Wayne in. It should have just followed Gordon for the first season, brought Bruce Wayne in at the very end or something. Not, boom, here's the Bruce Wayne, the Thomas Wayne and Martha murder right off the bat. It's like, really? So now we're going to sit here and watch this kid act like Bruce Wayne through this whole time, and you're bringing in all these Batman villains that didn't even show up until Batman showed up in some cases. So, yeah. And yeah, the actress they picked, whatever, Vampire Diaries girl, not exactly Poison Ivy looking, but whatever.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Any other comments on Gotham just continuing to just shirk the Batman mythos?
Yeah, I get a comment. I mean, I'll say this: the second season was a lot stronger than the first season, but it still wasn't enough to really keep my interest a whole lot regularly. And I will say though that the show, the fact that it kind of works as a cop procedural with an interesting little hook of the fact that it's characters that people vaguely know, it's got a pretty decent fan base amongst the non-comic book loyal, and I kind of feel like that's the way that they want to go with it. Now, obviously, that's an affront to people like us who want to see it, respect the source material, but the fact of the matter is, I think that they're trying to do something a little bit different, but I think the choices are very bizarre. I don't think that they're particularly good choices. The Poison Ivy one's just another in a weird series of decisions.
Oh well, moving right along. So, let's move to the Suicide Squad and our impressions of it. Obviously, we had our Culture Junkies event last Friday, and I think everybody on the panel has pretty much seen it since then, since that event was over. So, right down the line, let's really briefly, let's get to it. Was Suicide Squad a good movie to you, in your opinion, and what did you like about it, or what didn't you like about it? Let's start off with Miao Yin. She's been gone for a while from this show, so let's start off with her. What did you think of the show, Miao Yin?
Well, I enjoyed it for many reasons. One, I just wanted to see how it was going to play out with certain characters. And while some characters I was just like, they could have did better, but they didn't totally ruin Harley Quinn with me. I was actually pleasantly surprised. It was a lot of great actors in it that I liked, and they didn't disappoint me either. So, and the soundtrack was really, really good. So, kept my attention. I liked it.
Okay. Krusty, what did you think of the Suicide Squad?
Here we go.
Oh boy.
Actually, no. I really liked it. And you guys know I like Batman vs. Superman. Oh no, killer. Yeah, Batman vs. Superman was good to me. I think Batman vs. Superman was better than Suicide Squad.
You think? Wait a minute. You said you think Batman vs. Superman was better than Suicide Squad.
That made me stop watching what I was watching and turn to the computer.
And not because of my future ex-husband Henry. I just like Batman vs. Superman more than Suicide Squad. But Suicide Squad was a really good movie, and I enjoyed it.
All right, Krusty, you do realize that while pregnant, you are not supposed to be drinking.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what the heck you're drinking and or smoking over there, but oh my goodness.
Well, the only bad thing I could see about the movie was that my trypophobia was going really bad, and my arm is still raw from all of my scratching. So, yeah, don't watch that movie.
You and Dido both have that phobia? Wow.
Okay.
True.
What is the phobia?
Trypophobia.
It's a phobia where you don't like patterns of certain things. Like, you ever seen those flowers that look like spores? Yeah, like those flowers that look like spores. They freak out when they see them.
Making me itchy now.
Hate them.
So what triggered this phobia in this movie?
You mean like the little creatures?
It was so much of it in this movie.
It's like I'm itching now, and it's really bad. So I'm gonna stop talking about it. On to the next person.
Yeah, it's like the pod people.
Okay. Josh, let's see what you thought about Suicide Squad. Just real brief.
I thought it was a really, really solid movie. It made or beat every expectation that I had of it. It wasn't perfect. I didn't expect it to be. I went away very happy, as did 3 out of the 4 people I went to see it with.
3 out of the 4? Okay. Not bad.
3 out of 4.
Was there anything that really disappointed you about the film?
I mean, some of the... We get more into it as we go on, but I mean, some of the Enchantress stuff, some of the CG at the end I thought was a little lackluster. I thought it could have been a little bit more polished to look a little hokey. But it didn't do enough to distract me. Yeah, no, not a whole lot. I know that people really seem to come down on the editing, and it seemed a lot less disjointed than the theatrical cut of Batman vs. Superman. So I wasn't really picking up on some of the things that they're saying. Although I have only seen it once, a second viewing, I'll be a little bit more critical.
Okay. All right. Kahuna, what did you think of Suicide Squad?
I like it. It was entertaining. It was the editing was just, my God, it was just it was so chopped up, man. I mean, you can tell. I could tell the where clips were deleted. Um, you can obviously see there was a lot of clips deleted, even from the trailer. There was a lot of Joker stuff was deleted that you saw in the trailer that wasn't even in the damn movie. For the most part, it was entertaining. There was like a couple Martha scenes
Oh,
that they had in there. What else? I was pleasantly surprised that Will Smith was actually pretty good in it. We didn't get a whole lot of Will Smith.
mm,
We got like a couple. There was a couple scenes where he was Will Smith, but
mm.
other than that, his role was actually pretty good. For the most part, I enjoyed it.
Okay. And
But
GQ, what was your thoughts of Suicide Squad this weekend?
Oh, wow, where do I begin? Editing, as Kahuna said, was subpar and lackluster. And yes, I'm an intelligent enough viewer to piece everything together. However, I don't go to a movie to do their job for them. That movie, from an editing standpoint, was almost as bad as Batman Superman was. The Enchantress CGI, I mean, it's like, like we said, she looked like she was trying to do Akasha's dance from Queen of the Dam at the end of that movie with her outfit. She honestly fit in more like she should have been the villain for the Ghostbusters movie and not this movie. It really felt like their villains almost got flip-flopped, even though the Ghostbusters villain was still weak. Will Smith, yes, did better than expected. I will give him all the due praise for that. However, I never liked Deadshot because I liked how he felt about people or how he felt about his daughter. I like Deadshot because he kills people. And he's very cut and dry about it. So for them to try to humanize the villains, for me, was kind of like, it may as well just be a hero story, because now you're trying to make me feel something when I know they should be going out killing people. Because remember, they reminded us every 10 seconds we're the bad guys. Constantly. Over and over. And it's like they were trying to convince somebody that, oh, don't forget, we're still the bad guys, even though we're doing all these very heroic things.
Stuff. Agreed.
With the heroic tropes attached to them. So the movie itself was okay. It just, I don't know, I've heard that it was called the best comic book movie this year. I cannot even condone that when Deadpool and Civil War came out in the same year.
Yeah, that's a stretch. That's a stretch. So let's hit it. Let's hit up the chat. I know the chat is like rife with a lot of people putting their comments in. So let's hit the chat a little bit. Let's see. John Davis over on YouTube is saying it was just okay, better than BVS. There was nothing in the movie that I wanted to see again, and he'll watch it on discounted rental. Let's see. Roddy's checking in. Hey, Roddy, how you doing? He actually got to see it this weekend for the first time. Rarely gets to do that, and he said he thought it was pretty good as well. What's going on over there on Facebook?
Let's see. Jonathan Sidney William Hancock. That's a suicide. I'm sorry, not a suicide. That is a serial killer name if I've ever heard one. Said Suicide Squad was really good, and they did bonus footage at the end of the credits, which I agree was good. Anthony Minter is saying that the movie was okay, too many distractions, too many plot holes. Commercial marketing was off target compared to what we saw in the movie. Enchantress was like, what the hell, doing the Harlem Shake at the end. Oh my goodness, the Mighty DRE is watching the show.
Okay.
Rodney Maurice just chimed in and said that that's a good point. They were the bad guys, but Batman and Superman were more villainous than the entire squad. So the DCEU seems to be backwards. Also, speaking of villains, there wasn't enough Joker. I'm sorry. You don't market me Joker and then give me 10 minutes total of Joker. I don't care if he wasn't supposed to be the main focus. You hyped up Jared Leto like he is the second coming of Heath Ledger, and he fell very, very short of that goal.
Yeah, they left a lot of his stuff on the cutting room floor. A lot.
And they better not try to do another damn Ultimate Edition, because if that becomes their trend, I'm going to write them off completely.
In a way,
and I will start sending hate mail to Jeff Johns.
Right. In a way, you're going to almost see it coming, them doing that, just based off of some of the stuff that I've heard about what was left on the floor, and that whole thing that came out about how Warner Brothers produced two different cuts of the movie, so on and so forth. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about Will Smith and his portrayal as Deadshot. Now, we all knew going in, as soon as we heard Will Smith was part of this film, first thing we said is, oh, this is going to suck because Will Smith is going to be Will Smith. He's not going to, diversify himself or whatever. I myself, when I saw the movie, I saw a little bit too much of that, but I saw enough Deadshot that I don't want to kill him over it. Anybody else want to disagree with that?
I liked Will Smith.
Yeah, I liked what he did.
Why is Will Smith getting so much hate from you guys? I don't understand.
Because, man, I'm telling you, he doesn't diversify. He always has the same, ticks, the head bobbing, the loud, all that.
Dustin Hoffman.
Yeah.
Dustin Hoffman's always Dustin Hoffman. Like Christopher Walken's always Christopher Walken. Like, hey, Will Smith's always Will Smith. He's at least good at being Will Smith. I mean, like, what he does.
I'm not giving him credit for being good at being Will Smith. Are you kidding me?
What I'm saying is, this particular brand has been extraordinarily successful. His brand, Independence Day, Bad Boys,
Fresh Prince.
Fresh Prince. He's even, 7 Pounds was a shitty movie, but he acted it well. He did serious. I haven't seen Concussion, but I've heard good things. I mean, he's got some chops. But, I believe he could beat the shit out of a guy. I mean, like, that's what I want from a guy who's going to be in that type of...
Okay, but here's my issue with Will Smith playing Deadshot. You notice the entire scene when he was trying to hype up Diablo was basically ripped straight from Bad Boys 1 and 2. Deadshot doesn't do crap like that. Deadshot doesn't get all jumpy and jittery. And Deadshot is a cool customer 110% of the time. So for them to turn that into with them yelling at Martin back and forth was cheesy. And that's Will Smith being Will Smith.
Yeah, I think that's Will Smith. I can't disagree with that. I agree with your take on that. I mean, you're not going to be able to remove him from the film and remove him from the actor playing the character. But I mean, again, I'm not beefing heavily on Will Smith. And they made Deadshot look out to be a badass. He was, I liked the whole idea of, you're going to cut and run the second the action gets hairy. And no, he jumped into the fray. He was at the front line, and he was blowing people's away.
And like I said, I'll agree with you 100% on that. He did that part very, very well. It's just the Will Smith parts that came out took me out of the character. And it's, like I said, it is what it is. You can't get away from it because he is Will Smith.
Exactly. He is that, and that's what took him out of it for me as well. So let's move on from Deadshot. Let's talk about the characters that stood out the most to you in the film. I thought, for the most part, the cast did a really fantastic job. For me, I still believe that Margot Robbie pretty much just smacked a home run as Harley Quinn. I thought she was absolutely fantastic. She was my favorite character in the movie. But let's hear with you guys. Who was your favorite characters in the movie, if any? GQ, let's start with you. Who's your favorite?
Amanda Waller. She was the only one that was 110% right. Only one. Harley was cute and good, and I'm glad they had the nod to the original costume and the Alex Ross cover. Very, very cool. Definitely liked it. But again, at the same time, it just became like, and they got her origin in there. I'll give them that too. But they tried to over-sexualize her when Margot Robbie is not very hot in that regard.
Okay.
So I mean, it is what it is, but I don't know. Amanda Waller was spot on though. She just wasn't 400 pounds.
That she
Which
was.
I think that part is subjective. There's a lot of fucking dudes that love Margot Robbie.
Yeah, we know one in particular.
Yeah.
I know that, but again, you guys already know where my standard lies, and she doesn't fit it.
Okay, fine, fair enough.
Standard's sitting behind you on that controller. I see.
Pretty much.
So Josh, who was your favorite in the movie?
I thought Margot Robbie did a really good job. I actually really liked Leto's joke. I do wish that we got more of it. I know that he was a little divisive. Some people said he didn't seem too psychotic. Like, I kind of felt the same way that I felt about his Ledger. Like, he would just as soon shake your hand as he would put a bullet through your head. That's the way I like my Joker. Like, he's completely unpredictable. I mean, I could get it more into the fineries of what people, I don't like the Joker as a thug, or I don't like the idea of the Joker having a criminal enterprise, but just being this lone psychopath, and we could break down the specifics of why I would disagree or agree with that, but I thought that he was terrifying when he walked into the room. People feared and respected him because, again, you didn't know what he was going to do, kill you or kiss you. And he came off as completely manic and psychotic, which is what I expect from the Joker. But I really like Joel Kinnaman, and I didn't expect a lot from the Rick Flag character. I thought that his motivations were a little bit more. They were very, very grounded in realism. Spoilers, I guess. He's in love with the woman who is possessed by the Enchantress, and so his motivations are to try and keep her safe, even though he thinks it's a losing fight. I thought that was a really extremely realistic motivation for a character, a very humanizing motivation for a character. I really like him and everything that he's done. So I thought El Diablo was a standout, actually. I thought El Diablo was, granted he wasn't acting a lot, I guess, because he's a diminutive character. He's supposed to be, kind of keeping in his rage, but his powers and the actor did a pretty decent job.
Okay. Krusty and Miao-Yin and Kahuna, who were some of your favorites? Who were your favorites in the film?
Well, I will say for my favorite is like a toss up between Harley and because she actually made me laugh a lot through the movie. Sometimes I was the only person in the theater laughing, which was okay. But I also liked Amanda. But one that I was like really looking for and eyeballing to see how they were gonna do was El Diablo, because I really do like Jay Hernandez. He's a good actor to me, and I wanted to see how he did in this role, and I think he did an awesome job. Like I expected them to be like, I expected them to do it really weird and screw the character up, but I don't think that they did. It could have gone another way with it, but what I saw on screen, I enjoyed from him. But I do have a question. Like, what about Slipknot? Like, what do everybody think about that? Like,
what about Slipknot? What about Slipknot?
We knew that was gonna happen.
Yeah,
we knew
you know
he
what?
was gonna die.
Yeah.
I knew he was gonna die, but I was like, spoiler alert. I was like, nothing.
Stacy D Pro is over in Twitch. He said, he loves Slipknot, loved his role from beginning to end. Yeah, yeah, not too bad. Kahuna, what were some of your favorites in the film?
I did like Margot Robbie. I like Joker. I like what Josh was saying, like that scene with him with Tattoo Man. I was like, when I was watching it, I was kind of putting myself in Tattoo Man's place. And I was like, fuck, you don't know what the fuck. You don't even know how to answer any of his questions as he was asking you. Because you don't know if he about to, like, just snap and just kill you or what. Leto, I like Leto's Joker. I really liked it. It's just, man, there wasn't enough to really get really into him. You didn't have enough material for the Joker, like Heath Ledger's Joker. There was really there's no memorable scene of the Joker. Heath Ledger has almost every damn scene that was in that movie was almost memorable to me, at least. Leto's, they didn't allow him to have any memorable scenes. They cut so much of his shit out.
Agreed.
And like GQ said, it was pretty much like clickbait. They advertised the shit out of the Joker, and then you barely have him in there. You cut all his damn scenes because that's what everybody wanted to see out of this movie. Everybody wanted to see the Joker. I did like El Diablo's scene. Like Miao Yan said, Jay Hernandez is a really good actor, so I already knew he was gonna nail it. But yeah, and like I said, I was surprised about Deadshot. I thought his scene was, and I like Jared Courtney's. I've said it before in previous shows. I was like, Jared Courtney's actually going to have a good role. They didn't have enough of him, I don't think, for you to really like him. But Jared Courtney's acting history, this was really good acting for him.
Okay.
He's usually known as the very dry actor.
Okay. And what about you, Krusty? So we can move it along. What were some of your favorites in the film? Who stood out to you?
My favorite is still Will Smith. All
Okay.
Deadshot.
Anybody else?
Because he reminds me of my dad.
Okay, fair enough. And was there anybody else that kind of stood out to you that you liked in the film at all? No Harley, no.
Well, I don't know anything about Batman, so I was kind of learning about all these characters all at once.
And whose fault is that?
I don't really have Batman from being Boo Boo. But I actually like the scenes with what the witch lady person.
Enchantress, yes.
The witch
Yeah,
lady
it was really
person.
cool, especially when she did the little hand thing. It was cool. I liked it.
I like
The
what GQ.
effects-
I
the
like what
effects in the
GQ said.
beginning were great.
Yeah.
They just
What?
they fell apart at the end a little bit more than I would have cared.
Yeah, they did. I do
Yeah, the
remember.
last part was weird, but I like the character.
Yeah, when she first possesses her, that was terrifying. It basically looks like she's almost like the negative of June the Moon, as the doctor's name is.
Mm-hmm.
It was very creepy. The whole like embers of death floating around her, like she was like a cloud of pestilence. I thought that was a great effect, but at the end, yeah, I don't know what was with that hoodoo shake she was doing. It was really,
Oh
really
yeah, like
creepy.
when she was up there, all I could think about when she started doing the whole little movement, all I could
Just
think
like-
about was Shakira's "My Hips Don't Lie" video.
But I kind of like what
Queen
GQ
of the
said about
Damned.
being Queen Akasha's dance scene, in Queen of the Damned, absolutely. So
Yeah, that's pretty much what it
You
was.
know, I think it kind of added to like the whole super old, like possessed. I think it fit with the character, but somebody said it looked like a Harlem Shake. It kind of did. I liked
I
it.
thought the idea that she was like 3,700 years old was pretty fucking awesome, but I just, there was a lot of good stuff. I thought the brother was a little bit
he was a waste.
hokey.
He was a waste.
He was honestly
He was a
ludicrously powerful.
Yeah, I didn't understand.
Yeah.
You said it was
That's where
ludicrous?
she lost me.
Right. Well, hey guys.
He was walking
Oh,
around.
okay.
You know what the brother's costume reminded me of? Remember in the He-Man movie when Skeletor got the gold outfit?
Oh wow, that's awfully obscure.
Wow.
That's kind of what
So
it kind of
obscure.
reminded me of.
So anyway, guys, yeah.
You got a lot of people in the chat chiming in.
Oh yeah. I wanted to
Basically,
get
people
to
are saying, the Joker. People are saying the Joker didn't get enough time, which is, what a lot of us have also kind of said. Marcus Smith is saying, well, you can say that with Will Smith version of Deadshot, it's basically going to be his character from Bad Boys in a suit. That's basically what it kind of was to him. Jonathan Sidney, William Hancock is saying the Will Smith hate is strong. Yes, it is. Anthony Minter hated Croc. People are saying Captain Boomerang was good, which he was, but like Kahuna said, not enough of him. Rodney Marie says Amanda Waller was great, and she could have actually been the villain. The way kind of the way things were going.
Yeah.
Slipknot was legit cannon fodder. Didn't give him a backstory, but like he was saying, every Suicide Squad origin story has to have somebody that gets made an example of. So that was his role.
No, I agree. I totally
Never
agree.
could they had that too. Amanda Waller was cold. I mean, she played.
How cold?
She played that fucking role like.
She was the villain to me. I don't care what Enchantress was doing.
Right.
Amanda was the fucking villain.
Well, Amanda
She
was
was-
the wall
I mean,
for sure.
That leverage, boy. Woo.
Yeah, it was great. Hey guys, so I want to welcome everybody to the show. We're getting a lot of people viewing us on Twitch and YouTube and also on Facebook. If you haven't seen us before, we're the Culture Junkies. We do this show every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday here at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I want to thank you guys for joining us. We also would ask you, if you wouldn't mind, to go ahead and share this video and also chat with us. If you want to join the show and get on, we'll actually call you in so you can actually have your voice and you can interact with us at hashtag Junkies Talk. Right up there, right above my left shoulder, which is on my left, your right. So anyway, we've been talking about the Suicide Squad and kind of our reactions to it, and who some of our favorite characters have been. But I think we can all pretty much agree who's the most useless character in this film, and that would be Mr. Waylon Jones, aka Killer Croc. What was he doing in this film? Like, really, it was like, what was the point of him even being there? It was like such a waste.
He was tanking, obviously.
Tanking. He says.
DPS. I mean, were you not watching the same movie I was?
I disagree. I say the most useless person was Slipknot because he literally didn't do anything.
No. Even Slipknot had a purpose. He had a purpose.
To die?
Yes.
I guess.
Yes, that was his purpose.
I guess.
Essentially, Slipknot was there because, all right, here's who could have replaced him, the guy that played KG Beast in Batman Superman if he wasn't already dead. Because that's essentially what Suicide Squad, every single time they have a new Suicide Squad, There's got to be one jackass that's like, oh, there's nothing in our necks, there's no collar, no blah blah blah, and they got to run out of the safe zone and get destroyed. So all of the rest of the squad can see that, oh, this shit is real. Right. So that's what his purpose was.
I like.
Wait, who? Okay, does nobody think the boomerang dude had no use on the squad at all? Like, what? He threw a boomerang. Like, I don't.
Yeah, other than comedy relief, he really didn't do anything.
He was reconnaissance on that one part. He was reconnaissance.
Yeah, I mean, but anybody could have done that.
Comic relief. Yeah.
I couldn't even understand what he was saying without subtitles.
Killer Croc did take out the big boss at the end.
Yeah, but they did it in such a Deus Ex Machina way. I'm sorry, but here's the thing, and this is where I kind of had a huge problem with the ending of the movie. Spoiler alert for anybody that has not seen it. Close your ears. You took out two of the biggest big bosses with explosives. Twice. Within 5 minutes of each other. Cheese factor. Cheese factor like a Cheez-It. Like, that was just Nacho Doritos all over the place.
Nacho Doritos!
like come on now. Like, for real. And here's the other problem with that. Yes, Superman is dead. But you brought in a supernatural world-ending event, and then the Suicide Squad is supposed to take them down? I'm sorry. I understand they wanted to make a big splash out of this, but the Suicide Squad, like Assault on Arkham, was the perfect Suicide Squad plot movie and everything.
Indeed it was.
If they would have went that route, that would have been perfect. But they went like hero level on their first mission. Green Lantern taking down Parallax again. Can DC not understand that you on your first week you can't like take out like enormous, giant, huge, major, ridiculous threats unless you're Superman or Batman?
Yeah, I totally agree. Totally agree.
You know what part I hate? Okay, we already know that Joker had a whole lot of scenes cut out. The part that pissed me off was cut out, and you could actually see this scene in one of the trailers. This is like a quick scene with him where his face is burnt. There was a scene where he actually confronts the Suicide Squad trying to get Harley. And you cut that out. Like, what the hell? How do you do that? That was so stupid.
I was waiting for that line. I can't wait to show you my toys.
Oh, no, that was my favorite line from the trailer, too.
I'm glad they cut out the time to save the world line. I'm so glad they cut that out. That was perfectly cuttable. Thank you.
Yeah.
You can't cut out Joker. Like, that was a Joker catchphrase line.
Yep.
Gone.
Now, speaking of the Joker, guys, let's go ahead. That's a perfect transition. Thank you for that, Kahuna and GQ. What did we all overall think of Leto's performance as the Joker? And where will we actually put it against Jack Nicholson, Cesar Romero, Heath Ledger, and Mark Hamill? What would you guys think about?
I like it.
Yeah.
I liked it, but it's hard. It's hard to compare him to that when he barely had any screen time. Now you're comparing Leto, who had, I mean, if you added up what he had, like maybe 15 minutes of screen time, something like that.
10 or 15.
Yeah, 10 or 15 minutes, and versus Jack Nicholson and Heath Ledger getting, all throughout the whole damn movie. So it's hard to kind of pin them against them. But for what they showed, I liked it, and I think if he would have had more, if they would have added more of the damn scene that they deleted, we probably could have got a better feel from how he measures up. But from what I saw, I liked it.
Meow Yen, what did you think of Leto as the Joker?
I liked what we saw so far, but like Kahuna said, I don't think it's a fair comparison because he wasn't the main. He didn't have a main part. He was a supporting character in the movie. So to put him against Jack Nicholson and Ledger and even Mark Hamill, he's not in the same league as him, so I wouldn't even compare. But from what we saw so far, I'm just like, okay, you have my interest. I'm curious. I hope that they put him in, the standalone. I hope we see more of him as an actual villain. But as it is right now, he wasn't the main character. This wasn't his movie, so I like what I saw, but yeah, I don't really put him on the same level as the rest.
Krusty, what did you think of Leto as the Joker?
That's it.
Okay. Thanks
Sounds
for
like
that.
somebody stepped on a goat.
Nah,
Give it a Peg Bundy.
that or the Bugs Bunny. Like, yeah, not a big deal. Okay, thank you for that. Straight to the point. I appreciate that. Josh, what do you think of Leto as the Joker?
Most comic book accurate Joker on film.
Really?
I
Really,
don't
you
think he
think
was
so?
Listen, I don't think he was necessarily the best portrayal. I don't think he was, and what you guys have said about him not having enough screen time to give him a full review in terms of a comparison to say Ledger. Was it the best acted? I think he did a really good job of acting it with what he was given. I don't know if it was Ledger level, but in terms of what does the Joker represent in the comics the most? He doesn't just represent anarchic chaos like he did in the Dark Knight trilogy. He is a force of nature, but more primarily the psychosis is one of the most important things, and I think that he portrayed it in spades. The fact that he was terrifying beyond belief to every person that he walked near. When he walks up behind the guard, and you could smell that guard pissing himself. Even Tattoo Man, you got this guy who's obviously a hardened thug, and he doesn't even know, like Cisco said, he doesn't even know what to say to the Joker without the fear of being just shot in the face, and that's exactly what happens to him. And I just felt like if he gave 25, 30 minutes of a performance, this could have been some of the best Joker you've ever seen.
Okay.
What really surprises me is that there are a lot of people who are saying there wasn't nearly enough Joker, and I agree with that. But then there are people who are saying there was way too much Joker. I don't really know where people are falling on
I need those people playing trash.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that it was too much Joker at all, but again, he's not part of the Suicide Squad, so like, even though I would love to see more of him,
he could threaten to take over the movie if you put too much more of him in.
Yes.
Yeah.
If they put, because just like if it's more of him, you have to put more of Harley, and it's the Suicide Squad. It's more team members, so who are you going to talk about if it's just focused on them two?
Right.
So
now I'll say my piece on this, and I'll let GQ have the last word on this one before we get to the comments. I wasn't a fan necessarily of this type of Joker that we got. I wasn't a fan of the tattooed, blinged out, straight up gangster thug Joker. I'm more used to the clown prince of crime Joker, which is not what we got with this Joker. He didn't really play the pranks like I would have liked to have done. I mean, yeah, we got a couple of them, but I don't think we got enough to really make it feel like this was the Joker, in my opinion. But from what I've read about what's on the cutting room floor, and that was the other thing. I did not like the dynamic between him and Harley Quinn. The whole, he's so madly in love with her and all this other kind of stuff. It's always been my understanding that the Joker always treated Harley's love for him as a complete joke, and basically fed off of that. He was never really serious about her. Didn't want to have her at all costs or anything like that. I always thought he could care less, whatever. But that's just me. GQ, what'd you think of Leto as the Joker?
Leto, if given a true R rating like they were supposed to have, could have done wonders with that character. When you basically ham him down with a PG-13 movie, you lose some of the menace. Because again, you had a perfect opportunity for the first time ever to give us an R-rated Joker, and it's not going to happen because the Batman movie is not going to be R-rated. So it was a missed opportunity for me because I guess especially with him being in the movie so sporadically, you could have had every moment he had terrifying to the point of you don't know what's coming next, and when the Joker is on screen, who's going to die and how bad is it going to be? But you had you could have shot Common in the face, and you could have showed it. I would have been fine with that. Not, cut away with your little cute edit. No, show him get shot in the face because I know it's coming and I want to see it. So Leto, with the material he was given, did the best he could, and I don't know. realistically, like any like dude that looks the way the Joker looks, and that is probably going to be somebody you don't want to mess with when they walk in the room. Because I hate grills. People that have tattoos on their faces are questionable. Questionable. I don't know. Mental state to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there's some menace there. But I mean, realistically, Ledger's Joker was more violent, was more fun, was more Joker.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
So
Totally agreed.
there's been comic adaptations that fit exactly with what Leto did, but there's also been comic adaptations that fit with how Ledger did it. So I mean, it's like there is no definitive Joker, but I can definitely say that Leto didn't fit into what I saw as a truly overbearing, menacing dude you do not want to mess with guy Joker. And that's what I liked about Ledger. And if Ledger would have blew up those two ships at the end of Dark Knight, he would have been the perfect Joker. But that goes to Mark Hamill, who is still the best Joker of all time.
Oh, thank you for that. And let's
right above Cesar Romero.
Okay.
And then Jack Nicholson, Keith Ledger, Mark Hamill.
Okay. So let's go ahead and let's hit up the chat. I know a lot of people have some comments about that. Stacy D Pro actually says he's not Nicholson's Romero's Joker. He definitely wasn't Ledger type, but put him in a solo story film like Death in the Family. Since they already brought in the Dead Robin, I bet he could shine with a little more time. Ro D over on YouTube says, I'd like to see what more Leto can do with the Joker. And let's see. He also says and King Takeem 83 says everybody wants insane gangster Joker, not insane gangsta Joker. The colloquialisms, the twists in there. You know what he's talking about. What are they saying over there on Facebook, GQ?
Well, let's see. Ivan Jackson saying when the Comics Trust. Let's see. When will the Comics Trust the comic? I'm thinking he's saying when will the studios trust the comic content has been successful over the years and let things be. They should have learned from Deadpool. Deadpool is great because of the truth of the content, not because of the R rating. I think it's both, because without the R rating, you couldn't do true Deadpool. No way Leto is most comic accurate, because this is coming from Rodney Maurice. He was more obsessed with Harley than she was with him. Besides, we had too few scenes to truly judge him. Dude had maybe 10 minutes of max screen time. Marcus Smith asks, would you take Cesar Romero's Joker over Leto's Joker? I don't know that anybody here would. Maybe if he had shaved that mustache, he might have had a chance. And also, Rodney Maurice also says, I don't think Leto was bad, but we just didn't get enough to really compare him to anybody. So it was kind of like a glorified cameo.
Yeah, I mean, and as far as Joker being obsessed with Harley, that's all we saw. Every scene he had was him obsessing over Harley. So it's like you can't help but to see that part. I mean, like I said, if he had more screen time and show him doing other shit besides that, everything, all the clips they kept, all the scenes they kept were all scenes of him obsessing over Harley, and it was basically to show their whole relationship thing. And yeah, it's not the same as the comic book, but I mean, I kind of still like it. It was a different variation of their relationship.
I perceive it as it's the thematic analog between an abusive relationship. I think that the Joker is always his relationship with Harley is always portrayed as he's the possessive guy who can't let anyone else have his girl, and so his obsession with her is not one of love, which I think you kind of insinuated, Keenan, but I think it was. No, she's mine. It's a possession. No one else can have her, and I'm going to get what's mine back. And that's the way I perceived it.
I agree. I think that's what it is.
More than anything. Harley is the abused woman in the relationship, and he's the dominating man.
They didn't even show scenes like more of the psychology that he did to Harley to win her over. Like the one scene that we saw in set photos where they're arguing outside of his car, she pulls a gun on him, he sweets talk her into putting the gun down, and he smacks the shit out of her.
Mm-hmm.
They cut
Wait, this was in the movie?
No, it was on the cutting room floor.
No, this is something that was supposed to happen.
Yeah.
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 So
I
we
missed
didn't
the
we didn't
scene
get to
because I
see
went to the
No,
we didn't get
bathroom.
to see
but
all
you,
the
but
psychological shit that he does to Harley.
Well,
Right.
the problem
okay, but
is you can't even write in sidewalk chalk on the grounds of colleges without millennials crying about their feelings being hurt. So they cut a lot of the Harley Quinn getting abused by the Joker scenes out of the movie because they felt it would trigger too many emotions.
Oh,
and
Well,
again,
It
and
that
certainly
that's
would
where
would.
it would also make
that's
it a rated R
but
movie.
that's
For that is what would make it a rated R movie. Like to show more of their true relationship, it would definitely make the level higher. Because you can't have a PG-13 movie with somebody getting abused in it. Like,
Yeah.
come
But
on.
I mean, but let's not fake the funk though. Let's show it for what it really is.
Punch each other than to watch a man
okay.
punch a
And
woman.
No, I'm not talking about like a fight, like Enchantress
no,
fighting somebody, or
abusing is different.
that like
Yeah.
yeah, I'm talking about like the abusive part because
Right.
there was literally, and again with Deadpool we knew that children were in there, but there were like little kids fucking sitting next to me in this movie.
Right.
Like so, if
But Slipknot straight up punches a female correctional officer unconscious.
That's true.
yes,
Oh,
she's a correctional officer.
Let's let GQ
Okay.
finish and then let's move on.
But
Go ahead.
here's the issue with that. There is and Megashawn actually shared it with me. There is a quote that is put out there on the internet where, people being offended is essentially just them not controlling their emotions and not handling what it is that they're seeing. And that's 100% true. It's like, look, the movie could have been rated R. I don't care if you got to shut kids out of it or whatever, because guess what? They're not even supposed to be seeing it at PG-13. Bad parenting. So make it rated R. Make it the way it's supposed to be. Joker smacks the living crap out of Harley on the daily, and she comes back to him anyway. That's part of the dynamic. That's part of why those two characters are so weird that they stay together for so long. So it's like you can't. Oh, well, we're worried about misogyny, or we're worried about the who's gonna say this or say that. No, make your movie. Make it R. Make it violent. If kids don't see it, guess what? Wait till you're old enough to see it, then you can see it then. Because you're gonna make your money. Deadpool's already proved that. So the whole shutting kids out and all that other BS, that's done. Deadpool's already pretty much finagled that one. That's done. You do it right, people are gonna go see it.
How many kids are you gonna see in a theater fucking Sausage Party this weekend?
Probably
There's
a
gonna be
lot.
a whole bunch of kids seeing Sausage Party.
I can't wait.
In for a fucking treat.
I don't even want to watch the movie. I just want to see how many kids are at the theater. That's the only reason why I'm going.
I have no idea. I've heard of this Sausage Party movie, but I just know the name
Well,
of it.
it's a cartoon and it's rated R, but from the reviews I've heard it's very like raunchy.
Oh, it's raunchy. It's very raunchy.
It is very raunchy. But there's one final thing I kind of want to get to before we get out of here, guys, and it's kind of important. It's something that I thought was something very important to bring up, especially going back to last week when Suicide Squad was first being screened for the media. And that, I want to bring up the possibility that there actually is a DC film bias out there in the media. Now, the reason I say this is because, as we all know, last week when the reviews were starting to come out for Suicide Squad, it was getting absolutely killed by all the critics out there. I mean, they were saying it was just as bad as Batman vs Superman in a lot of ways. They were saying it was a disappointment. It was mediocre. It started off.
They were
fun
comparing
and
it to
kinda
Fantastic.
Well, maybe, and I don't know why, but at the same time, I couldn't deny that it felt like the critics were just being unnecessarily negative about this film. And then, of course, having gone to go see it myself, and I don't share a lot of those same sentiments, and I thought that it was actually a pretty decent film. Especially a film in the DC cinematic universe that did what it was supposed to do, which was turn out a really good film for nobody to be really divided about. I just kind of wanted to throw that out there, see if there is now. Josh may have a specific slant on that, but I'm not going to go to him real quick. I'll ask Miao Yin and ask her. Based on what we've seen from Man of Steel, had tepid reception. Batman vs Superman was absolutely murdered, and so was Suicide Squad. But everywhere you look, there's a Marvel film, and it's always getting praised, left and right, deservedly or not, or whatever. Is there a DC film is there a DC film bias out there in the media? Would you say?
Yeah, I think it is. I think it is a bias because people are afraid of change. And like this is like I read one article like now this guy has no credibility with me anyway. He's from the New York Times. I can't remember his name. I'll have his name later, but he said basically that X-Men was this great film and it had all these great details and all this and all that, but then he turned around and said Suicide Squad was complete shit. And I was like, everything that you said that was good about X-Men, you said was terrible about Suicide Squad. So what the hell are you talking about? Like, these people are paid off. That's why I didn't read any of the reviews until after I saw the movie, because I felt like they didn't even see the same movie that I saw. So that's just me, though. I take their stuff with a grain of salt.
Okay. Kahuna, do you think there's a DC film bias?
I think there might be a slight one, mainly because, the past movie we had, people got burned by that. That was supposed to be the greatest movie ever, and it didn't turn out so much. So I think there might be a slight little bias, as soon as somebody hears DC. Even I kind of cringe when it comes to the cinematic part. You hear DC, like, you get little second thoughts. But, DC does well in other places also, but Suicide Squad is a step in the right direction. I think DC needs to get rid of their fucking editing house and just get all new damn editors, because B versus S was edited horribly, and now Suicide Squad been chopped up to pieces. So it's in a step in the right direction. They need better editors.
Mm-hmm. And Krusty, I'm not sure if you can definitely answer this, but you let me know what you think. Do you think there's a DC film bias at all?
I do actually. I like Suicide Squad. A lot of the reviews I was seeing online didn't really fall in line with what I saw. But then again, I don't watch movies. I go to watch movies, like I said in the past, with no expectations, and for entertainment. So maybe the reviews were accurate, and I just don't care. Maybe they were, but I see a definite bias.
Okay. I can almost guarantee I already know where Josh is going to go, but I'm going to ask him anyway.
Well, I don't necessarily think that there's an overt bias. I think it's possible, but okay, I will just comment and say that. But the best review that I think everyone should read is on Comic Book Resources. It has an article about John Ostrander, who is one of the creators of the Suicide Squad, and he basically said that this is the guy who created these characters. He went in, he saw the movie, he said he enjoyed it. He said he talks about there were things that he didn't like. It wasn't a perfect film. The antagonists weren't clearly stated, and because of that, the protagonists can't shine because the proper villain. But he has another distinct take on the movie and the whole film critique, because he was married to his late wife was a movie reviewer, and apparently she said that of course reviewers go in with movie bias, and she knew it because not only did she have movie bias before she went into a film, whether it be against actors themselves or particular genres of films, but she heard it from all other movie reviewers, and he thinks that a lot of it is blockbuster burnout. But I think that there is a little bit of bias in terms of I feel like there are things that Marvel movies in particular, but certain movies made by certain movie houses get a pass for that other movies get critiqued for. So the things that we let Marvel movies slide on, we absolutely lambast on a Fox-produced Marvel movie. And there are things that are worth blasting, but Sony produces a Spider-Man movie, and they blast things that they wouldn't blast. Comedic beats, timing, acting, storytelling. So I do perceive a little bit of a bias, and I feel like people don't want to be overtly honest with Marvel films because they're the golden goose right now.
GQ, your comments before we get out of here?
Josh touched on something that I agree with. Marvel has earned that. Marvel Disney proper has earned that. They earned the reason to have that bias, to have that expectation of when you go in, you're going to like what you see. DC hasn't got there yet, and it's unfortunate. They have years, decades to do so, and they haven't got there. Green Lantern was supposed to launch the cinematic universe. It was trash. Man of Steel came out. It was mixed reviews and weird. Dark Knight trilogy was basically kept away from everything because Nolan had control of it. So it's like DC has, maybe if they put some, years under their belt and some hit after hit after hit, fine. Maybe they can crank them out, because again, Marvel Disney's been cranking them out like clockwork, and they're already. It's like you're trying to basically bring down a champion. People already like the champion because he's the champion. That's the reason they follow him. That's the reason they like him, because he's already proved himself. Basically, that's why he usually gets a pass. That's why he gets the best seat in the restaurant if there's no seats available, because he's the champion already. DC is the up and comer.
Mm-hmm.
And they're on the chopping. I mean, not the chopping block. They're put out there under a microscope, because guess what? The other company is already way up here, and you're reaching to get to them. Everybody's going to basically analyze every single thing you do, and if it looks like you're copying the champ, they're gonna roast you for it. If you take a stumble, they're gonna roast you for it. Marvel's got momentum. Fox Marvel doesn't really count because they've only got X-Men. That's all they have.
Yeah.
And people are just looking at that as just like, dude, this has become a joke because of Bryan Singer.
Mm-hmm.
So, they're going to have to make major changes there.
Especially after Deadpool came out.
Right. So it's like, Disney Marvel they've earned that. Is there going to be a bias? Yeah, because most people don't like to talk bad about the champion. Most people cannot be honest with themselves if they don't like something that the champion is doing, because guess what? It makes you look weird. It looks you look like the odd man out. I don't really, in all honesty, I don't care what any reviewer says, because there's never going to be a better reviewer for a movie than myself for what I think I'm gonna like out of that film.
Exactly.
So, yeah, Suicide Squad got skewered, maybe unfairly, possibly, but guess what? There were definitely problems with that movie. That movie was not like hold harmless, flawless by any standpoint.
Right.
Editing was bad, plot holes here and there, and then the ending was cheesy. But again, it was still a fun movie, though.
It was.
So no reviewer is going to sway me from going to see it. The ticket's already bought.
Right. Exactly. And that's why we always advocate, to see the movie for yourselves. Don't always just rely on critics, especially those that may have a bias or really don't know the source material, like your fellow fans, us, do. So that was a really good show, guys. Real quick, let's finish up with some comments from the chat before we get out of here. I know King Takeem over on YouTube is saying, they are too worried about catching up with Marvel. Fallen Marvel says, he feels like Suicide Squad was better than BVS, but you can take that for what it's worth. Gokai Red 12 over on Twitch says it's not bias in his opinion. He said, as he said before, these movies do not have staying power, lasting power. After the first day it drops in attendance, we were crazy busy on Friday, but Saturday and Sunday it was dead. And not just at my job, it was a lot of theaters that were having the same problem. So I guess, him working in a movie theater, that's what he saw in his experience. Like, it was really busy on Friday, not too busy on Saturday or Sunday. So take that for what it's worth. Fallen Marvel also says, as a whole, the movie is just average. It's not anything that we haven't already seen. It's just a cliche film. So what are they saying over there on Facebook?
Rodney Maurice is saying the reviews helped him like the movie more. It skewered his expectations, but it's a film that definitely had tons of potential to be better. Marcus Smith is saying that, so does it look? It looks like Wonder Woman basically has to save the DC, extended universe, or it's over. It's as a question. I don't think it's over. I mean, again, let's be realistic. They've got money invested. They've got all these other characters that they've introduced via email in Batman, Superman, so they have to do it. They have no choice. Rodney Maurice also chimes in and say Marvel has spent years cultivating their universe. They've earned more credibility, and their movies generally please general audience. Definitely please general audiences more than DC overall, which is true. Let's see, what else was there? Some people didn't even think there was a mid-credit scene because they thought it was a Marvel thing. which is silly. You should always see the credits because they're part of the running time. So yeah.
Yeah, you paid for the credits too, so might as well watch them.
Right. I mean,
exactly.
Plus there was that awesome scene in Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Right.
Yeah, one of the first ones of modern times.
Exactly. So.
And Deadpool took it and copied it and made it even funnier. So. And Anthony Minter has the last word out of the chat. He's saying Suicide Squad is not equal to Guardians of the Galaxy. If anybody was trying to equate those two.
No, it is not. No.
Even though they stole one of those Guardians of the Galaxy songs, I was kind of pissed about.
So that's the show, guys. We want to thank you all for joining us. We had a really nice crowd out there. Very lively chat. We thank you all for joining the show. We hope that you.
Who's going to see it again? I'm going to see it again.
I'm going to go see it again at some point. I don't know when.
I will.
I'll definitely go see it again because I think I need to have a second time through just to kind of really digest everything and maybe catch everything that I didn't do the first time.
I can go one more time.
Is it worth seeing what, Josh?
In 3D.
In 3D? I wouldn't say so. I don't think it was that much.
I enjoyed it in 3D. I'll be seeing it again in 3D.
Oh, you saw it in 3D?
Yeah, same for me.
Yeah, it's not.
I'll check out a matinee of it in 3D because I'm not giving them $15.
Yeah. So we want to thank everybody for joining the show. Everybody that's catching up late, like Kobe Pilgrim. Sorry that you're late. Be here at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But you can definitely catch the replay on Facebook and on YouTube. And if you're new to us, the Culture Junkies, please do follow us on Facebook and subscribe to us on YouTube. And we got over 300 videos over there, past shows, other shows like the Top 5 and Game that you definitely need to check out. But for the crew, for GQ, for Kahuna, for Krusty, Meow Yin, and Josh, I am Kenshiro. We'll see you guys on Wednesday, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Say goodbye to everybody.
Goodbye.
And make sure you go watch the Fangirls show replay as well because their first episode was very cool.
Yes, it was. Do check out the Fangirls show.
Watch it and see us on Thursday.
That's right. See us on Thursday. See you guys later.